welcome to episode 2 of the Big Bois Show. I'm back. Craig is back. Jason's back. We're all doing well. We're all staying healthy. How are you guys doing?
I'm wearing the same shirt.
Yeah, I'm just chilling, living in quarantine.
So Jason's been wearing the exact same clothing for a week as.
Oh, it was washed once.
Oh, okay, sure. But unlike last week where we the interview with Jess was so good that was the only thing that we really had for the podcast. This week we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with college sports, kind of an update on everything, and then we are going to get into our featured interview for this week, which we will not say right now, but let's just say that there are a few clues in the other two screens, meaning Jason and Craig. Just take a wild guess of what that is. But Craig, you were talking to me about what the NCAA is doing in terms of college football. Why don't you kind of take the floor with that?
Yeah. So the NCAA over the past week has put out an announcement laying out a plan for the return of teams back to college football and allowing them back. So starting off in mid-July, if a team has a game on September 5th, then from July 13th to the 23rd, they're going to be allowed back in for up to 8 hours of weight training, conditioning, and film review. Now, out of those 8 hours, up to 2 of those can be for film review. The 6 other hours, or 6+ other hours, have to be for the other 2 parts of that. Then following that, we have July 24th to August 6th. And this is when athletes can participate in up to 20 hours per week, no more than 4 hours per day. Of athletically related activities. So those include up to 8 hours of weight training and conditioning, up to 6 hours of walkthroughs using a football, and 6 hours of meetings, film reviews, position meetings, team meetings, and all sorts of meetings that you could see a player needing. And then practices would begin, like formal, I guess this would be the training camp would begin August 7th, including a 5-day acclimatization period. I may have mispronounced that. I don't know. Followed by
just like acclimation.
No, acclimatization is the word that this article says.
Oh,
that's a big word.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not
SAT word of the day: acclimatization. For all of you kiddos that are listening.
If I've mispronounced that word, sorry.
You just offended all the Oxford scholars. Oh my goodness.
All of them. I'm not sorry. So followed by 25 on-field practices, and then presumably after that, we would get back into the season. So that is what the NCAA has put out, just as a blanket statement of kind of what they want. Schools have also been kind of given the green light to when they feel that it's okay, and like obviously at like state universities this would be dictated by the governor saying like you're good to go. Rutgers, I know specifically Greg Schiano, I believe this may have been put out yesterday. This article was put out today being Saturday, June 13th. That he wants a return to campus for voluntary workouts beginning this coming Monday, so June 15th. I haven't read too much about this. All I know is I saw the headline and I was like, ooh, that's something that's very interesting. But have you guys heard any other just quick bits about anything going on at any of your schools or anything else in the conference?
Well, personally, I haven't heard much about Maryland. I know last week, even though we didn't include it, there was they have some sort of a return to practice, return to play thing in place that's going to start in June and then go through July. Obviously, much similar or very similar to what the NCAA has kind of panned out for this. But I'm optimistic for the season. I'm not optimistic for fans being in the stands, but I just think that's kind of the way that we have to go. I thought it was funny, just a quick tidbit, and then Jason can tell us about what's going on at Purdue. But I don't know if you guys saw today, but New Zealand has they haven't had an active coronavirus
There's
case.
zero, right?
Yeah, they have
hit
zero.
a few days ago, I think.
So they actually had like full fans in attendance at rugby matches.
Ooh,
That's pretty neat.
It was like, oh my god, what is this from like this year? Like, are we talking like, is this 2020? But it was like, that's in my mind. Now I'm getting happy because like at least some places are doing that. I don't know if that's going to happen in the U.S., when that's going to happen in the U.S., but that at least makes me feel a little bit better about the future. So,
yeah. And while we're still talking about the land down under, moving over from New Zealand over to Australia, I saw that the Australian Football League is back in action. But one thing I noticed, I was watching highlights of the first game back, and I noticed there's crowd noise, but in the footage you could see there were no fans in the stadium. They're obviously playing to empty stadiums because Australia, unlike New Zealand, hasn't hit that zero mark. They're not ready to bring everybody back. But it's just an interesting little thing that it caught me off guard because I heard the crowd noise, and it sounded like there was like a packed stadium, like a roaring crowd, but there's nobody there, and it's like, all right, I guess they got to put the noise in somehow.
I know that a bunch of I think in the Bundesliga they're doing that in Germany. I think they're planning on maybe doing that once the NBA returns. But I know they're trying to find it. Like, it was funny. They were talking about like pumping in 2K20 crowd noise, and then everyone just started making these jokes about like, oh, and now we're gonna go down to David Aldridge for a report, and then like all these funny like random things that happen like during an actual game. But I mean, yeah, it's exciting that a bunch of leagues are coming back, especially leagues in the U.S. that are coming back. But Jason, what the heck is going on at Purdue? Are they are things progressing or degressing, or what's going on?
From what I've seen as like an outsider, I definitely say they're progressing. I know for a fact a lot of the football players have started moving back in, or at least a few of them have started moving back in because I started to see them on campus. I actually work by a lot of the restaurants that are off campus, so I see them like walking by every once in a while. Other than that, I did see on one of the coaches' Instagram stories that they were getting tested. So I think hopefully the whole team's getting tested. I think the staff is probably also going to get tested as well. And then I think they're just going to go into practice like that. I don't really know much of the details about like what they can or can't do. I just know that like they're together and they're starting to like get back together.
Well, that's good. Yeah, and also I realized I said degressing instead of regressing. So sorry to all of the Oxford scholars again. We have doubted you for a second.
That's strike two.
That's strike two. So hopefully we won't get that third strike later. But does anyone else have anything about it? Because if not, then we can just get on to the to our main part of this week's pod.
That's all the updates for me. So I guess let's bring out the guest.
Okay, so now we are into our main segment of this week's podcast, and we have on a very special guest, someone who we were trying to get on last week. Things happened. Hopefully she's doing okay. Do you go by Maddy, Madeline?
Maddy is my name, actually. Yeah, that's
so. Maddy Kelly, former drum major at the University of Nebraska. How are you? How's everything going?
I'm good. I only have one leg right now that works. The other, I felt really bad last week. I was like, yes, I'm excited. I'm gonna hurry home and get ready for this podcast. And then I just wiped out on my bike, and I was like, oh, my leg, that hurts really bad. So, but I had surgery. I've got some pins in my ankle now, and we're doing good. We're doing good. I'm glad to be here.
Well, hopefully everything's good. Hopefully everything
will go well.
Hopefully a speedy recovery.
I hope
speedy
so.
recovery for sure.
Well, thanks.
But since you already introduced yourself to us, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone? Give like a short, quick bio, kind of like let's call it like a Tinder profile. Like if you were about yourself, let's do that.
For band kids.
Tinder for band kids would be that'd be crazy. That'd be fun stuff. Well, I'm Maddy Kelly. I am a alumni of the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. I've done marching band pretty much all high school through college. It's been my life pretty much. I played the mellophone. I played mellophone all through high school. In 2015, yeah, I know, snaps. Best instrument. It's really fun. And then I marched in the Blue Knights Drum and Bugle Corps in 2015 for 1 year. I played mellophone with them. That was awesome. Kind of kept me inspired through college. So I kept going through college with that. And then my senior year of college, I tried out for drum major, ended up getting it with 2 other really great guys. So that was kind of where I left off. And then now I'm getting my master's degree at the University of Nebraska. So kind of excited to see what happens with everybody there and kind of just cheer them on. But it's been a crazy ride. I feel really lucky to have had all those experiences. So
Definitely.
Maddy, do you also play French horn, or are you just mellow?
I do. I think my primary instrument has become mellophone though, because like I stopped and wow, everyone here is really good. So I just kept I was like, wow. And I was in horn choir for like my freshman year, and I was like, wow, I suck. These guys are really good. So I kind of just kept playing mellophone and kept practicing mellophone. But I'd probably be better at trumpet if I played trumpet, but I can do it. You guys are probably better at horn than I am though. That's what I've noticed.
I'm not
great.
It's okay.
Alex plays alto sax.
Yo,
oh my
but like
gosh.
it's lit though. I mean, no, I played. Okay, I'm not gonna try to play after college. Like, come on, what do you think I am?
Yeah, I
And
know.
believe it or not, there's gonna be a special alto sax performance by Alex Murphy at the end of this podcast.
Oh, are you?
No.
Yeah, get jazzy. Get jazzy.
Yeah, I'll just come up. I'll come up as a Barry B. Benson. Come in. You like jazz?
Oh my gosh.
And just perform a thing.
Do you know the lick? You gotta at least know the lick.
Oh, I do know the lick. Trust me.
Okay,
I've
good.
seen. I think there's like 5 or 6 videos online of just like the lick used in different like songs or movies or things like that. And
Yeah.
then I don't know if you guys listen to Anderson .Paak, but there was I think it was Ventura, so the newest one. And like at the end of one of the songs, there's the lick, and it's like really weird and obnoxious. And in the middle, it just like it comes up, and I'm like, okay, go off, like do your thing, Anderson. Let's go.
He's pretty tight. Yeah.
He's a very good artist.
I saw something that was it was saying how the like Pirates of the Caribbean theme is the lick.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not going to go. This isn't a music theory podcast, so like I'm not going to go into that. But like, just know, Pirates of the Caribbean theme is the lick.
There's if you want more lick stuff, there's a Facebook page called "Is This the Lick?" and it's just a bunch of like stuff like that. Like people will find it in like modern music.
There was a thing. It was in the opening of The Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not going to talk about the scene because the scene's a little bit explicit, but just watch the opening of The Wolf of Wall Street, and when you see the scene, it's so funny because everything going on and if you know what The Wolf of Wall Street, you probably know what I'm talking about at the beginning.
Okay, so for everyone here that doesn't know what the lick is, can someone explain it really nicely? For everyone who's listening,
it's just like a jazz thing.
That's all you need to know,
it's just like a jazz thing that a bunch of people use in solos and improvisation, and then it's literally used like everywhere. Like I think it was used in like a Sonic thing. It was used in like in like an Israel tourism video at one point.
What?
It's oh, trust me, I've seen all of these in full. It's
one of those things where once you like know about it, you never not notice it.
Oh yeah,
it's like the arrow in the Amazon, like, or what's
FedEx?
FedEx,
Wait.
yeah. It's like the arrow in the FedEx logo.
Oh my god, yeah.
You never begin to unsee that once you've seen it once.
So for everyone who listens to this, I hope we ruin music for you forever.
So, why don't we go back to I guess like your origins with marching band. So, did you always want to do it going into high school? Was it something that interested you and came about? Like, how did everything start with that? And then what made you want to continue?
I mean, it's kind of weird. I don't really have like a super inspiring story of why I wanted to join marching band. I think it was just like all my friends in middle school were doing it. I was like, hey, I grew up pretty introverted. I'm still pretty quiet. So it was like a surefire way to make friends without having to like always be 100% like active and stuff like that. So it was nice. And then I went to a small, like my school in Colorado was very sport based. So our band was really small. So like we all got really close and then wanted to kind of just stay and keep pushing to get better. So I don't know. Kind of just like
Did you say school in Colorado?
Yeah.
Wait, so are you from
Colorado?
I guess that does make sense.
I was like, she's in Nebraska, but she's going to school in Colorado. I mean, like,
I mean, it's a weird origin story.
So were you originally born in Colorado and then you decided to go to school in Nebraska, now we need to know more.
we gotta go all the way back to the beginning. I was born in Michigan. So
Okay.
I lived in Michigan for a while, and then we moved to Colorado. My family's from Nebraska, so I visited the school with like some of my family, and it was
Okay.
just like I loved it. I was like, that's where I want to go. I wanted to be there and kind of feel those roots. And then, yeah, I don't know, like Colorado, I think they ended up just the scholarships worked out at Nebraska a lot better, and I went there on like a really sunny day, so I liked the vibe a lot more. It was weird stuff kind of lined up, and the band was huge, and I didn't want to wear a cowboy hat because I know the CEO band
Yes,
wears
the
cowboy
Nebraska band
hats.
was quite large.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was really like drawn in by that. So yeah.
So I guess along with that, because you talked about doing or you talked about drum corps as well. You said that you did that in 2015. So was that something that you progressively got interested in high school and something that you wanted to do before college? And how did that work out?
Yeah. Well, all these stories now that I'm thinking about them are like kind of dumb, but like this is how I got there. So there was this guy I really liked in high school, and he was like really into like he like showed me a video of the Cavaliers from 2020, or like I think it was 2011, and I was like, wow, you're really cool, oh my gosh. So I like tried to read up and like watch all the videos to get into like drum corps so I could talk about it with him. And then I ended up going to a camp for Blue Knights in 2014. I got cut. It was I learned a ton, but like I wanted to keep going and learn with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, like, I just fell in love with it. And I was like, hey, I actually really want to do this for myself and not for, like, some other person. And then it just, like, worked out. I was young. I, like, had a lot of time. And, like, I had time to practice. And I really loved it. So, I don't know. It just, all the right places fell into the right time. And being in Colorado, like, the Blue Knights were just convenient. And, like, I loved it. So, yeah. And I'm glad I got to do it, like, in between, like, my senior year of high school. Just, I mean, I don't know. I think it really grew into like a really good timeline with all of that.
So can you kind of describe the things that you did with that? Because I know that I personally have never done drum corps, and I know some people that I know have done it, but I know that it's very work intensive. There's a lot of things that go into it. Like how, like, I guess the parallels between high school and college and then drum corps, what are similarities and differences between all three?
Well, I think similarity I don't know. There's a lot of differences. In high school and in college, it was very laid back, and it was really about like having fun. Like, hey, like you're good, you practiced, and you know what you're doing, and now you can have fun. And there's nothing like you're not really competing. You're not like pushing towards something. You're just pushing towards like getting your show done and having a good time and making friends. With drum corps, like I feel like that comes second, and like then that was fine with it. We were there because we wanted to make good music and we wanted to make a show that was awesome and push ourselves and stuff like that. So it's really the degree of how hard you wanted to work and like the hours that you put into it, and then of course like how you're there overnight every single day and stuff like that. But I mean, and every single one of them was fun. I just feel like the amount of work you put in towards drum corps, and I think that's what turned like a lot of people off to it. Like I mean, especially in college too, I feel like there was a huge, I don't know, because like I know in Purdue they have some people who are pretty into drum corps. I think I've seen that, and like I feel like there's people who don't like it because of all the hard work and like how dedicated, like I don't know, you're like a super mega band nerd, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like I don't know, I feel like people see the work and the amount of time you have to put towards it and they get kind of freaked out, and I think that's the biggest difference.
Yeah. So I'm curious because so Maddy, at your high school, you guys weren't like competitive when it came to marching band?
We were a competitive band, but we were really small. So we were used to like, I went through 3 directors in high school, which was like it was really weird. And they all were really different. We had one who was like really lenient and really like fun forward, and we kind of we competed, but we just didn't like, we weren't super into it. We just kind of went to go. And then our second band director was like, he tried to make us a drum corps, and a lot of people hated that. Like he was like, we were rehearsing like 2 times, like 2 days, like every single day of the week. Some days we'd have rehearsals like twice a day, and then like a lot of people just got tired and got hurt and stuff like that. But I mean, like I think it prepared people for drum corps really well. And then my third director was just like back to being chill and doing stuff like that. But we were competitive. We just never were like that into it because we were small. And sometimes like in Colorado, that really kind of hold the band back, I think, is how big you are. So,
I have a question then.
What's up?
So what would you say about like the transition from like a high school band to a college band? Because I know for a lot of the kids that come into our band, I guess for most of the country, a lot of their bands are competition bands.
Yep.
They're more like corp style bands.
Yeah.
So they don't have like that high step that a lot of the Big Ten bands have. So
Oh my gosh.
Can you speak about like that transition a little bit?
Well, first, Nebraska wishes we had that high stuff. I don't know. We always look at all those other
Nebraska
bands.
doesn't?
We have it for like a second, and it's like everyone loves it. But we wish we could come out to like, we wish we could be like, we're doing the high stuff and stuff like that all the time. It's awesome. But I think like the biggest thing that people like going from high school into college was like we weren't like, I don't know, the audition process was the biggest like scariest thing that made it so different. Was like you go in there and you audition and they have to make tons of cuts. I think it's the same way for like all of you guys too for the most part, but that was the biggest scariest thing. Was like, wow, they must take this really seriously. I actually have to practice. I don't have to just show up and see my friends. But like, yeah. And then like knowing that there was like a bigger reward of making it in was the biggest difference. It's like you actually had to try a little bit harder, I think. But
I'd actually like to hear from everybody on the next one, but what is your guys' audition process like?
so it's not as rigorous as I think. I think some people's are really rigorous, especially like further east. But there's like the weekend before band camp, there's 2 rounds of auditions. The first round, people will send videos in, or they'll play like our fight song for our directors. And then like, that's in like early May. And then in August, when band camp actually happens, if you make it to the second round of auditions after that, then you come in, you march and play our fight song, and then you learn some of the drill that we do. Like you learn our double time running onto the field, and you learn like boxes and slides and all that stuff. And then they have like a big audition within sections. They have a playing audition, and then they just kind of weed out everybody and make the cuts from there. So it's a really stressful 2 days, but it's not really like, I mean, I kind of liked it because if you're like, the only part that sucks is like if you do get cut and you're a freshman on campus, like you're kind of stuck on campus for the rest of the week and you're not going to band camp and it's hard. So, but they make it quick. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it for sure.
So wait, so how big is the band at Nebraska? Do they have to cut it down to a certain size every year?
Every year it's 300 people.
Okay.
The sections pretty much stay within the same range of people.
Okay.
Besides a couple tweaks, and usually it depends. We usually end up having to cut about like 60 or 70 people. It depends. I think there were some years where it was a lot more and some years where it was a lot less, but every year it's dramatic. Every year something happens. So, but
well, I guess starting off with Maryland, I know that, so like we don't have cuts. Like if you want to do band, you can just do it.
Yeah.
And then the only auditions that we have are basically auditions to see where people place musically. So like just, like how well someone plays will kind of determine what part that they have in music.
Right.
And I guess the only thing is that, so previous years when it came to pregame, there wasn't like a set thing. So like if people weren't there for a game, there were just like holes in the form. But like now there's a certain amount of people that are in pregame and we have alternates. So basically like people just don't do it one of the games and to alleviate the problems of having, like a hole in the form or something like that.
Yeah, we have that too. We had switchers for like people that like if you have to, and it was mostly for the purpose, I think, of the same thing, like making the drill clean, and also for like if people have other like requirements on game days and they can't be there, then we have like their switcher come in and fill. So it's like an alternate spot. So yeah, we always kind of wondered what it would be like to have a bigger band. I don't know, like 300 always.
A bigger band than 300? That's pretty big.
We're not 300.
You're talking to Maryland and Rutgers over here.
We
are not
make
300.
Cuts. Like I think the past few years we've barely been hitting 200, if that. Like,
oh wow, I don't know.
We only hit like 270.
Particularly big right now.
I feel bad. I got into the scene of like big bands like throughout like the Pac-12 and Big Ten like really super late. So I was watching like bands in the South and I was like, holy crap, there's like 350 people on the field, and we were all like, dude, I want to be there. I want to be that loud. So, but I guess I wish I'd seen more of the Big Ten bands, like just size wise and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah,
that was one thing that I loved about my college experience. I was always one of the first people to volunteer to travel. So I actually visited back in, I think it was 2017 or 2018. I remember
that.
I visited Nebraska, and I loved seeing you guys, and I remember seeing the Michigan band and seeing the Maryland band and all the different bands that I traveled to in Indiana back in 2015 and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, just getting to see these different bands, and from Rutgers, we're not a big band. We're 200. So like, if somebody's from some like small school in like Nowhereville, Pennsylvania, watching this, will be like, wow, 200 people, that's so big. But like Big Ten numbers, that's pretty small.
No, that was exactly how I felt. That was just how I felt. Like, and especially when you're in like the block the first time when you're playing, and you're like, holy crap, there's so many people around me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, small bands, like we get it.
Yeah, I
we're
remember
lucky.
it's always a fun time to get to kind of see other bands that are bigger than yours and be like, wow. And so that's the thing I like about being from a band that's not the biggest one. Like, it's like, wow, there's so many more people. They can do so much more on the
well,
field.
y'all all seem like so much closer. Like, I don't know. I like whenever you like, I think when your pet band visited too, everyone was just like so nice and friendly. Like, I think Northwestern was the same way because I think they're smaller too.
Northwestern is like one of the smaller ones as well.
Yeah.
Craig, how's the Rutgers band camp audition things?
We don't really have an audition. Last week I had mentioned that we had a change of directors. So what the old director did, going to my junior year, we had this swap of directors. But the old director, he called them auditions, but it was his way of saying that if somebody was a troublemaker and he didn't really want them in the band, because it's a class at the university, anybody could sign up for the class. Yeah. But the audition was his way of basically saying, I don't want you in the band. Mm-hmm. But nobody would get cut based on skill level. Now in the new administration, I think they've moved to just an alternate system because they're trying to raise the number up to like that 300 range. But obviously that's just a growing process that you have to change the whole culture of the entire state's like high school band system to get people to want to join the Rutgers band.
Yeah.
And that's also going to require changes in football culture and everything in the state in general.
Yeah.
But that's a systematic problem that I'm not focusing on right now. But in terms of they want to be able to make cuts and whatnot, but right now we just don't have the numbers. So if somebody is really bad, they'll be placed as an alternate for pregame and for halftime.
Interesting.
But generally halftime, unless somebody's like particularly bad or they're injured or something, they're going to be on the field. Or if a section is just that large. Like I remember, I think my junior year, the trumpet section was just particularly massive, so they had to just bring people off the field for them.
Oh,
but other than that, it's basically like if you can make a sound and you can march, you're on the field. Pre-game, we do pull back the numbers a bit, so if somebody is missing, there's not a hole in the form, similar to how Alex was saying Maryland does it. So we have an alternate system there, a little more sturdy for pregame than for halftime, but we don't really make cuts. I think in my entire time I marched, I think 2 people got cut.
Wow.
Well, they were asked to not return.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you see that pretty much like in every organization.
Exactly. Like, you have somebody who has issues with the drum major, but or not issues, not the drum major, with the director.
Yep.
So Jason, how is it like at Purdue?
So ours is actually quite in contrast to Rutgers in Maryland and a little bit of Nebraska. But so to audition for the Purdue band, you start by, I think now they're sending in virtual like audition like tapes for music, and you send it in, and then based on that, I think you might have to re-audition when you show up for band camp or not. But so you show up for band camp. Our band camp lasts a full week. So from there, the rookies show up on like maybe the first day, and then 2 or 3 days later, all the returners come back. And basically the whole week is a big marching audition, which is different from what I've heard from you guys, that our school is a lot focused on like how we look as a marching band and not really like, you can get away with not being like an amazing player as long as you can march, because our band uses like the classic Big Ten low chair. I don't know if Maddy noticed when she was there.
I love it so much. Yeah, I like we couldn't take our eyes off of it. It was the coolest.
Yeah, it's very difficult for a lot of students because they have to come in never marching that before, and then they have like basically 2 or 3 days just with the rookies themselves before the returners come back, and they've already done it for at least a year, and it gets pretty stressful, I'd have to say, but overall it's a really good time. But I will say, I think the numbers last year, our band is 380.
Oh yeah.
But
oh my God.
I think our band camp numbers, I think we hit 500
Jeez.
members at band camp, if I remember correctly, and we always cut it down to around 380.
Yeah.
I think our band is the biggest in the Big Ten.
I think you might be right. Yeah.
It's either us or like one of the Michigans, I think. But I think I was thinking about it when you guys were talking, and I think predominantly it's because Indiana, like the Indiana and the Midwest as like a state, are like very music heavy states. Like the Drum Corps National finals are in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the big music like I guess competitions are held around the area. So I think that's a big contributing factor to like why the bands around here, like us, IU, Illinois, and then the Michigans are such big bands.
Right.
I think that might be a big factor. Other than that, I think that's everything. Did I answer a lot? Any questions?
No, you got it.
It's a lot, so.
It sounds good.
Do you guys have a lot of injuries? Like, I remember I was talking to someone like in Wisconsin who, like, with their pregame and stuff like that. Like,
Okay.
and I just imagine like
Well,
I would be like everything hurts.
Even with our pregame, we do have like one crazy maneuver, but other than that, like even with that, people usually like we don't really see injuries.
Yeah, neither do we.
Yeah,
Not
no,
really.
it's if somebody's injury prone, sure, they'll be out for a while, but like generally we don't have that many strenuous like injuries from marching itself.
Yeah. Because I would
We
always see
also
the
have-
I would see the like the chair steps and stuff like that. I'd just be like, ow. Like, my
Yeah,
goodness.
it's like I remember once just like we were just like trying. I think Ohio State has videos on YouTube of like learn the technique before your
They
audition.
do.
Oh, thank God.
I've seen it,
And
yeah.
so like me and my friends were like, this was like this must have been like senior year of high school, I think. And we're like, let's try it out. Let's just see how tough this thing is. And like, I couldn't do it. Like
It's hard. It's so hard.
my legs were in pain. And like, I was like a fencer in high school, so like I had decently strong legs. Like doing fencing and like marching band. Like,
Wow.
but then I went and tried this chair step, and I was like, oh nope. Good thing
that
Rutgers
first
is a
week-
roll step. Like
That first like 3 or 4 days of band camp is probably like the most sore I've ever been
Yeah.
in my entire life. But yeah, like I have to say, like overall, it's really, again, the big thing is the transition. Like once you start to get into it, it's really like you get used to it, and eventually
Yeah.
it sort of
Yeah.
becomes muscle memory.
Absolutely.
And the hardest thing is just the transition, really, in the middle.
Maddy, I kind of wanted to backtrack and talk more about drum corps because there's
Sure.
so I'm not necessarily one that's like crazy into it, but there is like one show that I really like, and the only reason why is I haven't told any of you guys yet, but like it used to be like a crazy low key like Disney nerd, but like Disney parks, meaning like I would know like I know like history and like crap like that and like
Oh,
unnecessary
wow.
things.
I think I know what show you're about to say.
What?
I'm really excited. I have no idea what you're
Well,
about to
it was the 2000 Cadet show.
Yep.
Yeah, which is
Wait, that's-
actually so the music selection is that is oh god, it's by Gavin Greenaway.
Illuminations, Reflections of Earth.
Yeah.
What?
It's basically
I know that
Greg's
piece
got
very
it.
well. I know that piece very well.
it's basically like that. I guess like the first, it's like a 9-minute selection, but it's basically it was the fireworks show that they played at Epcot until last year or something like that. But it just recently they just recently ended it. But like it was like one of those things where I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know that. And
Yeah.
I hate that I know that by heart, but I do. And now
Yep.
I'm like, what do I do with my life? Because I'm in this place, don't know what to do. I know what this is. I'm afraid. I'm ashamed that I know what it is. I'm ashamed. I'm afraid. I don't know. But yeah, no. So I guess along with that, how intensive are practices at drum corps? Like what do you like? I guess like what's like a normal week schedule like for you
Sure.
guys?
Yeah, well, I mean, pretty much we spend most of the summer like on tour. So we're going from state to state in the cities, trying to do a show every day. So on a show day, because that was like we'd have like maybe 3 or 4 shows a week, and those are pretty normal days. So we'd wake up. Typically, we'd come in from like another state. We'd have a couple hours on the floor to sleep a little bit. You have different jobs on tour and different stuff like that, which is another thing that like I didn't expect going in. Like I didn't expect to like actually have to like paint the fields or like set up the props and stuff. So that was hard. But I was part of field line and crew, so we would wake up early. We would go paint the fields. We usually you make sure you get breakfast, and then usually we have like our first block of rehearsal is visual rehearsal. So that's where you're not playing any of your music. You're mostly just working on like learning your drill and perfecting it and like adding body and stuff like that. And that was really nice. You get kind of like a chop break from the night before if you were playing a lot. And then you'd have lunch. And then typically you would have enough, like if you had enough time before your show, you would have like a little music block. So you'd work with your section, you'd do sectionals. And that was always fun because you'd get to know everyone with you. And that was the one thing that like kind of was a comfort for me, was like, even though you're in this different environment, even though you're doing a lot of different things in band, it doesn't feel like band anymore. You still have sectionals and you're still working on music. And that was awesome. And then, so we'll have a little bit of sectionals. We had ensemble, which was like, you have the full band, the pit, the color guard, the battery, everybody is working on the show. We do a big run through. It's all hyped. Everyone's excited for the show and stuff like that. And then it's called EPL. After the show, it's called Eat, Pack, Load. So you'd have to like run, grab a bunch of food, pack up your stuff from the night before. So you put your air mattress away, you pack up all your clothes, you take a shower, you get ready for your show. And then my favorite part was always the bus rides to the shows. So we would get on the bus. I'd always like have music in. I think I was on the brass bus in 2015. So it was like, imagine if you were like on the bus, like traveling somewhere and it's just like you and all of like the horn line and the woodwinds and stuff like that. So like, I don't know. We had like the trombone bus in college and like the trumpet bus and all that. So it was like that. It was crazy. But we would go to the show. We'd get there. We'd have a decent amount of time to warm up usually. So we'd get our horns out. We would do some marching basics, like wherever we could find space in a parking lot. And that was always fun because people would come watch, or like weird stuff would happen, like in McDonald's parking lots, and we'd like block all these cars. It was awful. But and then we'd warm up, we'd go have our show, and then the nice part after the show was always like just getting to change, get to see your friends from other drum corps, getting to go watch other drum corps, stuff like that. It was really great. And then you get on the bus and you drive to wherever you're going next. You get to sleep a little bit. You wake up, you're in a different state, go to a different school. So it was awesome. Like, and I wish it wasn't as far like long ago as it was, because there's just like so much I'm starting to forget, which like makes me sad, but it was awesome.
That was one thing that always enticed me about doing drum corps. I never ended up actually marching, but is, you go all over the country. Now, given most of what you're seeing is like high school gyms and like fields, but but still like you're still experiencing these different parts of the country, and like And one thing I remember always seeing from all my drum corps friends was always like they'd be like posting like every day they'd post a picture of the sunset, and it's always so pretty. Like for somebody from the East Coast, like with all the busy like busy surroundings, but the nice Midwestern like open field sky, nice clean air, and that's something I wish I could have experienced. Yeah, the worst states, funny enough, though, I think we had our worst rehearsal days like in Nebraska and in Kansas, just because it was like so hot and everyone's like, I hate this, like, and I don't know, but I always felt bad. I was like excited to go to Nebraska, and everyone's like, this is the worst day ever. It's so hot and terrible. But yeah, and then we all like the part that did suck. I mean, it didn't suck, but we always like we got to go to a bunch of cool places in the West Coast. Like we went to San Fran, we went to Santa Monica. But in the East Coast, we went to New York, but it was Rome, New York. So everyone was like all excited. We were like, yes, we're in New York. It's awesome. And then like we went to East Coast. It just flew by. It flew by.
Rome, New York is where Woodstock was.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually,
I thought Woodstock was a town, and I thought Woodstock was called Woodstock because it was in Woodstock.
That's what I thought.
No, Woodstock was held in Rome, New York. If I'm here, let me just check this. I was gonna say
I thought that was somewhere in Europe.
Wait, no.
Like Woodstock?
Oh, it's in Bethel, but I think that's basically there. I mean, I know that there was one that was in Rome, New York. It might have been Woodstock '99, but
probably.
But yeah, no, I was gonna say I was looking at the performance. So you guys are in World Class, which is the same, the same one as I know. I think it's like Blue Devils, Blue Coats, Carolina Crown.
Yeah, we were up there with the top 12. Yep.
Yeah, so you guys finished 6th in 2015.
Yeah, we did. That was such a good year.
Which is actually the joint highest finish that Blue Knights has ever had.
Yeah, they passed it this last year, so it felt.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they. Well, I don't think they ranked as high, but their score was a lot higher. And
yeah,
it was
92.05. But I mean, 6th place. That's pretty good considering the I'm trying to think of the word for it, but like the quality of other drum corps that you guys were facing.
Yeah, it was definitely intimidating for sure. Like that was one of our best years, and like it was just such an honor. I don't know, and you don't really realize that it's like that big until you're home and you look at the scores and you're like, wow, you did that.
Yeah.
So
When you guys are like actually performing and whatnot, or not performing, but when you guys are like in like spring training and whatnot, do you ever have like a kind of like, I feel like there might be like a kind of chip on the shoulder mentality. Like I know at Rutgers, that's something that we have, that I know our basketball coach like kind of instilled in the players, and that helped drive them throughout their success this past basketball season.
yeah.
But, like, because you guys aren't like Blue Knights. Yeah, you guys are known as like a good core, but it's not often seen as like one of the tops. Like when you think of like the top, because you think of like Blue Devils,
Carolina
Crown.
yeah, it
But
was hard.
Does that
Yeah.
kind of add in like a little like we have to prove ourselves here? Because I mean, a top sixth place finish is like, that's impressive.
Yeah. Well, we were really good about like staying at our level, and that sounds kind of bad, but like when you see like the point split and like the design of some of the other shows like along the way, you kind of realize like, okay, you have to work for what you can work for. And the staff was really good about that too. They really just wanted you to work to make it like the best that you could for yourself, which I was really grateful for learning that mindset so young, because like we weren't always comparing ourselves to other cores. Like we were just so different in our own way. Like our style was just so different from all the other cores that like it kind of stopped mattering a little bit. And then, so I don't know, I felt kind of lucky to have that mindset, but then like to finish almost in the top 5, we're like, wow, we should just keep thinking like that. And it's hard because you want to be top 3, you want to be the best, but I don't know.
Exactly.
I felt lucky to learn the way I did.
Yeah, and I think I actually remember. I think I saw Blue Knights that year.
Oh, really?
That was like the one year that I actually like saw a few drum corps shows live, and I actually was able to make it out. And awesome. I remember just seeing, and I was like, I think I may have heard of these guys like once, but like they're actually like not bad. Like
wait,
because I had just seen. So that summer I was supposed to march with the Raiders drum.
Oh yeah, I've got some good friends. Yeah, great place.
And so they're open class. They're not the best in the world.
Well, low-key, those ones have the most fun. Like I'd hear stories from people from open class, and they're like, "This is rocked." Yeah, it sounded awesome.
But like, due to some things, I ended up not being able to march this summer. I had some ankle issues. And so I pulled back, and so I was that's why I was like going to a bunch of shows. So like I want to see my friend perform. I want to watch my hole across the field.
Oh yeah, that's always
Look, that's where I would have been, right there. There I am.
I would have been there, yeah.
But then I remember being like, Blue Knights. I don't think I've ever heard of them. And I was like, hey, they're not bad. And then you guys went to play 6th place, so not too shabby.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Like we went and watched like the DVD where they show like our retreat, and everyone gets announced. And like the announcers were like, "Yeah, the Blue Knights. Wow, didn't expect that." And we were all just like, "What the heck?" We worked really hard. I think we all went into it with like expectations of just like, yeah, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And then it just like whenever you have that mentality, it always turns out like great. So I don't know. Yeah. It worked for us that year.
Well, that's great to hear. I will confirm, Rome, New York is where Woodstock 99 was held, which is arguably the worst of the Woodstocks. So.
Yeah,
presumably the first Woodstock was in Woodstock, New York.
No, it's somewhere else. It wasn't.
I feel like it would be called Woodstock because
it was in Bethel, New York.
It was not in
Woodstock
was like
Bethel, New York,
this close to my age.
40 miles
back in the 70s.
40 miles southwest of Woodstock.
Okay.
Why not just have it in Woodstock?
Yeah, they were actually going to have a 50th anniversary thing. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
And they screwed up everything, and then they were going to hold it at Merriweather Post Pavilion, which is in Columbia, Maryland, which is
turn up.
Which is like 30 minutes away from like the University of Maryland. So I was like, yo, it might be held here. And then they were like, nah, fam, this is not going to happen.
Sorry. Like our band director, all the best songs came, like my favorite Woodstock was Woodstock 1969. And my band director was like, yeah, we're going to do a Woodstock show this year. Get pumped. And then we just didn't do it. I was like, what the heck? What the heck?
I remember a lot of empty promises from band directors. Yeah. Of, we're doing this show this year. No, doesn't happen.
No, instead it was just all space shows.
Yeah, all space shows.
every school did a space show.
There was like a week or a couple of weeks where like I think a lot of the Big Ten bands all did a space show.
Yeah.
It was that week of like the anniversary. I think it was Neil Armstrong walking.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Well, I mean the anniversary of him walking was July 20th.
But I think it was like it was the year. It was like
it was this year.
or whatever.
It was this year. Because we played. Did anyone else play Rocket Man? Or like
We
some
did.
Elton John. Yeah, I remember that. I remember
I
that.
played Rocket Man, not this year because I didn't end up doing band this year, but a couple of years ago we did another space show, and I think we played Rocket Man.
Yeah, we did an Elton John show in 2018, and we didn't play Rocket Man, and everyone was like really upset. And then the
I
next
think
thing
the only
was like,
space show I've ever done was a Star Wars show.
oh
I
yeah,
think
we
that's
never
the
did
only
Star
one.
Wars.
Because we did that when the new trilogy was like just coming out in
Yeah.
2015. That was how we started my freshman year.
Did you play any of the Did you play any of the songs from the new trilogy?
No, because the movie hadn't come out yet.
Okay.
Like
We were going
the
to.
summer before the fall before that movie came out.
We
But-
couldn't get the rights to the Star Wars music, so we had a Star Trek show in 2016, and it rocked. It was really
Oh,
fun.
man, I
It
mean,
was
Star
really
Trek
fun.
has some good music.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was great. But
Yeah,
we
I
missed
only
it.
asked if you guys play the music because actually the guy who arranged a lot of those pieces is one of our directors.
Oh, really?
What's his name again?
Conaway, yeah.
Yeah,
Matt Conaway.
that's right.
he-
Oh my
He
gosh.
okay.
writes awesome stuff.
He
He
has
writes
some
really good
really
stuff
good
for
pop
mellophones,
songs.
by the way.
I know,
That's
he's
cool.
really
Yes,
good.
he does.
Low key, I think I went to Purdue. I went to Purdue 2 times in college, and I went in 2017 when you guys played Malagueña, and I think that happened.
I
And you guys
wasn't there.
so they lit fireworks off on the field, and like everyone in the Nebraska section was like freaking out because there were fireworks on the field. We were like, they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed. They just like kept doing it. It was so fun. But I didn't know that you weren't there. But it was cool. I was
I'm
sucked
young.
in. I was sucked in.
Well, I think that we should probably get into talking more about Nebraska, obviously, since you're now you're going to continue your studies
Right.
at Nebraska, but still an alumni in terms of your undergrad degree.
Yep.
So, what first attracted you to the school? What things did it offer, not only with band but with academics, that you really liked
Yeah.
and that really persuaded
So-
you to go?
Yeah, so I had a lot of family that went there for school, and I don't know, I kind of, for some reason, I just didn't really want to go in-state for school. I kind of wanted to be far away from home, but not like super far away. And like Nebraska, like Lincoln from my house is like a 7-hour drive, so it was perfect. Midwesterners like to drive, so it was great. But yeah, so I went out and toured it with my uncle, and he kind of just like we didn't take like one of the big tours that you usually see. He kind of just took me around campus myself, so it felt really personable and it felt really right, just because like you were seeing it by yourself and you didn't have like this really catered experience. So I liked that, and then they were really generous with scholarships. So I felt like I was going to be in the right place with that. And then I don't know, I was really drawn in by the band too, of course. Like I would see those posters and I was like, I have to be there, I have to see it. So and it ended up just like some visits, just feel wrong. Like I don't know if you've like gone on college visits and stuff. You're like, I shouldn't be here. Like this, so like it was just the perfect day, and it felt like it was gonna work out. It did. So I'm glad to be back for more school too. Like it just like again, it just keeps working out. So I don't know. I think it's been like a sign.
So originally, were you intimidated by the fact that Nebraska's band cuts people?
Oh, totally. Yeah,
like as a freshman,
totally.
I mean, even though you did drum corps, was that still something that you were freaked out about?
So I'll admit, the big thing about coming back from drum corps is like I had to like make sure that I had to check myself and make sure that I wasn't like acting like a jerk or like acting like I knew everything, because like you don't, like it gives you some experience, but you don't like act like you know everything, because it's not true. So I realized that there were auditions, and I was like, it's not going to be a big deal. And they sent me the music, and I was like, it's short, it's going to be fine. And then like I didn't realize you had to memorize it. So I came to the auditions, and everyone was like, okay, let's start playing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't I can't make that stuff up on the fly. So I was like, I think like the first night of auditions, I was like in my dorm, like hyperventilating. I was like, I can't, this is not going to work out. This is going to be awful. So, so I was really freaked out. And then of course, like everyone, like Nebraska band is kind of similar. It's got kind of a BOA vibe to it a little bit. Like people are really into it, like in high school, and they love it. And they're pretty decent sized bands. So everyone like was really taking it seriously and really hardcore with it. So I was like, I didn't prepare for this. But so it was really intimidating for sure. But then like as soon as you get in and you learn the people that you're around, and you have your first rehearsal, it's like it goes away. Like you're there for a reason.
How because there's cuts, were you told that you made the band, or like how did that whole
they make it so dramatic. They make it so dramatic. It's so you have your audition the same day that you find out. So like they go section by section. So you like, it depends. We could do like ranks, like A through L, I think. And the horns were D rank. So like you went pretty early, but you had to wait the rest of the day to find out. And they tell you that the list is going to be posted at 7 p.m. And like it never is. So we were all like everyone like all those 400 people, all those like 400 people are waiting outside like the tiny music building for them to post the list.
God.
Yeah, and then it's like 8:30 p.m. and they still haven't, and you're like, oh my gosh, are they talking about me? Like what's happening? So then they post it, and like, oh my gosh, it's like yeah, everyone like sprints into the building to look at the list, and like you can't see it. That was the hardest part of like being on leadership and like seeing things from behind the scenes is like people get really torn apart if they don't make it. Like it's a dream for a lot of people, and like rightly so. But it was so dramatic, like especially like knowing that you had a bad audition and you're like, crap, I could have done better. but yeah, I don't know if it's that way at Purdue, like if they like because they don't send out an email or anything. You just have to be there to find out.
I'll tell you a story. Okay. So
oh my gosh.
my freshman year, I know exactly what you're feeling about like all the stress and like that band camp week is probably like there's so many emotions that go on that week. Like I had so much stress. I was so nervous. And then the way we do like our the way we admit people, I guess I don't know if that's the right word, but we're all the way the Mellows do is we're all sitting in a classroom. I think that's the way most of the band does it. But we're all sitting in a classroom, and then we have 4 student leaders, so they're divided into 2 different classrooms.
Okay.
Or the leaders are waiting in 2 different classrooms, and then one of them will come in, call you, and then they'll bring you into the room. You'll be with 2 of them, and mostly they'll be like, okay, so how do you think it went? And like they'll talk to you for a little bit. But the person that I had, shout out Anthony Gray, was like he took it and just he just drew it out and just kept going. He was like, so how do you think it went? And I was like, oh, I honestly like I was really nervous. Like I think I could do better. And he's like, do you think if you came back next year, you think you would be doing better?
Oh, that's awful.
Like,
that's awful.
But after all that, like through all that, when he told me like I made the band, like I don't think I'll ever forget that feeling. Like I think I just went into full like I think I might have blacked out. It's just like I just remember like that feeling of making the band for the first time was like one of the best feelings that I've ever gotten. Yeah. And
it's
like
a huge relief. Yeah.
It's just so exciting to see the rookies like on their first day too.
Yep.
When they make the band for the first time, you can see like that sheer excitement on their face.
I don't know if you guys like all meet together like on that night or like not, but we all get into the band room and we all play like our fight song together, and it's like loud and crazy, and it's like it's just joy, like it's awesome. But yeah, it's the culmination.
I wish I could relate. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I just like I already know that I'm in. I already know that I'm in, so I'm like, yo, dope.
Yeah.
But while you're auditioning, you're like, I wish I didn't have to audition. This sucks.
Yeah, you're like, I mean, oh my god.
I want both feelings at the same time.
Rutgers, I don't even know how they would hold auditions because our band camp isn't at Rutgers. It's like 3 hours away it's like at like.
What? Wait, hold up here. What?
Is that okay?
So I don't know if this is a thing that like I think it's a more high school thing that happens. But like you go to like a summer camp after like their campers have like gone home for the summer, and they just have like a few staff left over just like kind of cleaning up the camp. They rent out. So we went to a camp in Greeley, Pennsylvania. Oh. And so we stayed.
I never did this in high school.
My high school didn't do this either, but this is the thing that a lot of high school bands do.
I didn't
they go away for
East Coast band. What the heck?
They go away for band camp. But so
I'm ashamed.
So I came to Rutgers and I was like, oh, band camp. I'm gonna be staying in a dorm. I'm so excited. I'm gonna be on campus. I'm gonna get to like see the stadium. I'm gonna get used to campus and all that because like that's everything I'd heard about like college band and whatnot. Like Big Ten bands, that's what you do. Yeah. But Rutgers, nah. We're going over across the state line over into Pennsylvania, where we're gonna go up in the mountains and
hardcore training.
Oh, it actually
this is some like Remember the Titans type stuff.
And so
this sounds like shady.
So there's this nice big amphitheater there where the brass would always have their like brass sectionals, and this nice big hill. So the director or the assistant director would usually be with the brass, and he'd be up halfway up this hill. And, like, he'd be, like, conducting us, and he'd just be getting, like, this wall of sound coming from this amphitheater.
But
it was so buggy because we're up in the mountains.
Oh, God.
And, like, and it was just so unpleasant. Everyone comes home. They're just scratching all over. Just nail bites everywhere. And, like,
jeez.
And all your clothes are just, like, so we used to have a band camp uniform. It's actually what I'm wearing right now. White T-shirt, black shorts.
Yep.
But, like, the white T-shirts would not be white at the end because, like, you don't have a laundry machine.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, like, no one really has time. You just pack enough shirts for the week and whatnot. But like, just with all the dust and dirt from like being in a cabin and just marching on these terribly kept dirt fields that have been abused for an entire summer already, and it's just all getting kicked up. And so your shirt, when you get home, is like yellow from the amount of dirt just caked into it.
Hardcore.
Yeah,
Jeez.
It's hardcore.
Oh my God.
There were people.
Rutgers is actually the scariest
what
band
the heck?
in the Big Ten.
We could. I don't think Nebraska could not survive that band camp. Our band camp is really cushy. Like they give us like we get popsicles every night. Like I don't know.
Yo, what?
Yeah.
I mean,
Nah, I'm out.
Rutgers are beating their butts in the mountains.
There was a swimming pool at the summer camp.
Oh,
so, you
lucky.
know, so like, you know, you sneak out of your cabin at night, take a little dip to cool off, you know.
Honestly, yeah. Actually, that's like a really good experience. I mean, wow.
That's weird. Okay,
Dang,
so
Rutgers.
so getting off of how Rutgers is basically kidnapping kids and taking them to a random place. So I guess with Nebraska, I really hope that Rutgers doesn't do that.
Nobody gets kidnapped. Everybody's there voluntarily. But if you were to get cut at band camp,
that sounds like someone who gets kidnapped would say.
If you were to get cut at band camp, you'd be stranded in the mountains.
Oh my gosh! Oh yeah, that's a really good point. You fend for yourself.
That's why we don't have cuts at band camp.
That sounds like if you get cut, you have to survive by yourself. So don't get cut. Oh jeez.
No, like you can stay in the cabin and take the bus back. But like,
okay. So aside from that craziness, I guess going back to Nebraska stuff, in terms of how you went through the band. So I guess this is for both you, Maddy, and Jason. But when you guys first audition and you get in as a freshman, does that basically guarantee you a spot every year that you come back, or do you still have to work?
No, I mean the only way that Jason, same way for Jason. Yeah, the only way that you have a guaranteed spot is if you land on like the leadership team or something.
Okay.
So you have to re-audition every year. Granted, if you are a vet, you do have like a better chance because they've seen you march, they've seen how you interact with people in your section. And like really the only reasons that I've seen like vets get cut is like typically like an attitude thing, like if they have issues with like directors or other people that like caused widespread like negativity, or like someone's just better than you. So like I still got nervous like my sophomore year.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't leave. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was equally nervous my sophomore year. It was not any better. I was like, I got this. I know what I'm doing now. I know what band camp's gonna be like. No, it was awful. I was like sweating during like waiting for like my name.
Yep. Yep. It was like even though like they were waiting, we had to wait like over an hour for the list to be posted again, and I was like, I'm so cut. Like they're talking about me, and I'm getting cut. Like
waiting for your name is just so intense.
I would not want that.
I think the I mean, like, what I'm talking about is with you guys, like, having to, like, wait to see your name on a giant list. I think another thing that, a similar thing is what Illinois does. I think they post their roster online. So, like, you have to, like, look at your phone at night and be like, did I make it? And, like, scroll down.
Ooh,
I think that's probably the worst.
I mean,
I'm fine with how things go at Maryland because, like, I was guaranteed a spot, which is great because like I was guaranteed a spot for football and for basketball if I wanted to do it.
Oh, that's so nice.
Which was lit. But
basketball is a lot harder to get into for Nebraska for some reason, just because I think that the pep bands are so much smaller.
You guys have to audition for that too?
Yeah, well, it's like I mean, you have to audition, but like the audition is easy, but like to get into the bands, people really care about like the games they go to for like that stuff, and then like when you travel and go on trips, it's really hard because it's like seniority and how much you've been there and stuff. But
I was going to ask more, did you also do basketball pep band and or like for other sports?
No, I think I maybe done like 5 basketball games since I joined college. That was a huge regret, was just like not doing it enough because it was awesome. But like, you could be a sub like and not have to pay for the class. Like you could just sub for people that like needed to, like couldn't make it and stuff like that. But I was never really into pep band, and then I got really into March Madness and like college basketball like last year, like right when everything like stopped. So I was like, big bummer. Well, but
yeah. So I was curious. So on top of that, I know that the biggest sport at Nebraska, in my opinion, is not football, is
It's water polo.
Volleyball. We're so good at volleyball.
It is volleyball.
We're a
And
volleyball
Lexi's
school.
son is a god, let me tell
I
you.
know.
Lexi's son is a god.
I know.
I've covered volleyball for the last 2 years, so
Yeah.
Maryland's
It's so exciting.
So do you guys have a pep band, like a designated pep band for volleyball, and how does that go?
Yeah, it's like in the fall we have volleyball, and I think it's just volleyball that we do in the fall along with marching band.
Mhm.
I can't remember if wrestling is a fall sport.
Wrestling's winter.
Okay, is gymnastics a fall? No, gymnastics is a sport.
Gymnastics is winter too.
Yeah, we had a
We
really
don't have a
good
gymnastics team.
That'd be sweet.
You
We had a
don't?
really good gymnastics team.
No, we don't.
That's one thing that I wanted
we do,
to.
I
I
just
wanted
never
to
heard
go
about
and
it.
see because I heard that like gymnastics. I don't know if they're called meets or matches or
Meets.
whatever.
I think
Meets.
there's yeah.
I've heard that they're really fun at Rutgers, and I always wanted to get to one, but I never had the chance to make it.
They're really cool.
That's what I've
Gymnastics are
heard.
intense.
Yeah, Maryland does. I mean, not to cut
Not
everyone
to
off.
flex.
Because So Maryland has a thing every year where, or they basically do it every year, where the wrestling team and the gymnastics team have like simultaneous like a dual match.
Yeah.
And then like a meet going on at the exact same time in the main floor of our basketball arena, which is like really cool. So like,
That's so
but it's
cool.
also like sensory overload because like you're watching both things. At the
Oh
same
my god!
I could not
Some
do that.
dude's flying through the air and another guy's getting choke slammed on the ground.
Like I could never understand how people could watch like multiple football games at once, and I'm just like, what? This is so
I don't
intense.
know.
Like it's
Yeah. I gotta give credit to the people over at Red Zone who just on game day they just have like
Oh
a
my
million
God.
TVs going.
Yeah.
I would never be able to do their job, so props
Yeah.
to you guys. But
Yeah.
So Maddie, did you do the pep band for volleyball?
No, I never got to. No.
Oh,
I
you
mean,
never
that was-
got to.
Yeah, that's
So-
the thing is like it's right during marching season. So like
Okay.
the people that like did volleyball and marching band were like die hard bandos. So like major props.
Okay.
Like yes, but but it always made us jealous because like when they get to the tournament and when they go to nationals, like the band comes and it's just awesome.
Mm.
So yeah.
So I guess on top of that, just because I'm curious, because I know that like I don't know like what there is to do in Nebraska, but it just seems like volleyball is like the main thing when it comes
Yeah,
to
you're
Nebraska,
right.
and
You're
like
right.
they literally sell out every game, and they get like 8,000 people inside of this arena just to watch
It's
volleyball.
so cool, yeah.
But have you been to games, and how would you
Yes.
describe the environment?
The games are really like it's really different. I think it's a little less hostile than football. Like
Okay.
and Nebraska's not hostile, but like if we are gonna get mean about one thing, it's gonna be football.
Okay.
So no, the volleyball games are really fun because like when they like spike the ball and set it and stuff like that, like they'll chant "Go Big Red," and then like the pep band gets to play like more. They have more like sound time, so they get to play more songs that are longer. And like of course like it's more exciting because the volleyball team is really good and like I don't know, the atmosphere was really awesome because like I'd never seen like a packed volleyball stadium before, so it was really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess so. Oh god, my internet connection's okay.
Oh yeah, it's real
So
bad.
Yeah.
going back to what? Mine's really bad.
Yeah.
You're back, but you like lagged out there for a second.
You're underwater.
Oh, I'm not underwater. I'm in my basement.
Okay.
My basement can be weird, but so I guess on top of that, so what you're doing or what you've done with marching band, can you kind of describe what a week is like in terms of practice, and then what a game day's like?
Yeah. Well, first of all, what time is everybody's rehearsals here?
5 to 7 p.m.
PM.
3 to
3:30 to
5.
5:30.
Yeah, y'all
Yeah,
suck.
3 to
Oh my
5
gosh.
or 7 to 9.
When is yours in the
Sorry,
morning?
sorry.
So
no,
we,
not.
so we
Yeah, it
have
was 5
rehearsal.
to 7, yeah.
So we have
Sorry.
rehearsal at 7 in the morning, and that's always.
Oh,
I know,
wait a
I
minute.
I
Oh,
remember
boy.
after I had visited Nebraska and I came home and I was friends on Snapchat with a bunch of people and like I'd see like on their stories I'd be like, why are they like at the stadium at like 7 a.m.
That was
And then-
posted
and then I
3 hours
realized-
ago.
And then I was like, oh, they have morning rehearsal. What
Yeah.
is that like? Just like
That's
a
crazy.
Well, like,
game
every
day
si-
thing? But
Every single year we ask to change it, or in some sense we hint that like, hey, we're exhausted. And then every single year, like they're like, hey, we have this so that everyone else can take classes at it. Like, I guess that was a question like I had for you guys. Like, do you have to change your schedules like around band, like for that? Like, because like I mean, I was able to work still, and I was able to like take classes in the afternoon. So I was grateful to be like, okay, I have band out of the way. But it's just like 7 a.m. means that you have sectionals at 6:30 in the morning, and then it means like for like like memory checks for songs, you have to be there like 6:15, and so it just like you just kept getting it's just
Oh
awful.
my god.
Oh, it was awful. And that's like by the end of the season you're just so tired and it gets so cold in the mornings, but like it's so worth it. It's worth it, but like you have to complain about it because like that's the only thing.
Yeah, that's what you do. It's what you do. Like,
7:00 in the morning.
I know, and
Dude.
like and then at the end of the season they're like, why are there not a lot of people at rehearsal? I'm like, it's 6:45 and we have like 2 more days of rehearsal. But
Is it 5 days a week?
Yep, it was 5 days a week. So it'd be 7 to 8:20, 5 days a week. And then you'd have sectionals, like that your section leader, that like your leadership would decide, but that would usually be like 6:30 to 7:20, and we'd start rehearsal late on sectional days. So it was
Ooh.
like you really, really have to dedicate yourself to it, like really
Holy
hardcore.
crap.
Yeah, and I thought I was a morning person until I started college band.
It doesn't sound like fun at all. But I guess on top of that, because Nebraska is one of the, I guess in terms of Nebraska football, it's one of the most diehard college football fan bases from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And they sell out every game. How is a game day like? So say it's like a noon kickoff. If you guys have noon kickoffs, or
we have I think probably we have like 11 a.m. kickoffs. That's
because they're in the time zone difference.
Yeah,
So I guess describe like a normal game day for what you guys do with practice, and then what you guys do after that, going into the stadium, all that kind of stuff.
So we're really lucky. We get to rehearse every day in the stadium. And I guess that was part of why we did it in the mornings too. Yeah, we do it in the mornings, then the football team would come in after us, and it would be fun because you get to see all the players, and it was the coolest. But so we get to we'd rehearse usually, I think like, I want to say like 5.5 hours before kickoff. So like, if it was like a 2 p.m. game, we'd get there at 9:30. If it was a 7 p.m., we'd get there at like 1:30. So we'd rehearse. It was really fun. Like game day rehearsals are like their own thing very much. Like you have all these traditions. I'm sure you guys have too. Like it's just like so much weird stuff that goes into it that we love. But we do like a stretch and run. So we'll like run laps around the stadium and like do a bunch of our stretches. We have like a groin stretch where we like sit really deep and like make a bunch of really loud noises. It's awkward. Yeah, it was really fun. It's super fun. And then we do a little bit of basics. We'll run through some chunks of our shows, and then we'll do like a full run through of every single tune and make sure that everything is set up like for getting on the field, for getting off the field. And then we'll run pregame too. So we'll get like our pregame runs. We'll get rehearsals in with our Big Ten flags. We'll have all the gear out, and that's rehearsal. And that's usually about 2 hours typically. And then we have time. So I know like Purdue has pep bands do you guys have pep bands that go through the stands in the stadium? Or is that
during the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a couple.
That's right. So we have something kind of similar to that. We have like pep bands that will play like at certain tailgates, like for the university before the game. So I was in one of those. Typically after rehearsal, you'll get like a lunch break for 2 hours. And you'll get to go eat lunch, go get ready for the show, get ready for the game and everything. The pep bands would go after rehearsal. We'd get changed into our uniforms and we'd go to like wherever pregame we needed to be at. Like sometimes they'd be like in our student union for the chancellor, or they'd be like in our conference center for like the president and stuff like that. But they gave us free food. We got free pizza, all this good stuff. It was awesome. And then we'd be at that tailgate. We'd come back to the School of Music. We would warm up. We have like I know like a lot of you guys I think have big concerts before you go out and do kickoff and pregame and everything. So we would do that too. It would be really awesome. We'd play through all of our music, play some fight songs. We march down to the stadium, which is really super fun because like our march down is kind of similar to Purdue's, where we just have like a bunch of random stuff going on. But it's the best. And so like the cadences are really hyped up, and you get to like run around, do stuff with your section, just be really loud, get everyone really excited. And then you're in the tunnel, and then you do pregame, which is super cool. You get to see all the fans. You try to breathe, try not to fall down, get like super overwhelmed. And that feeling never leaves, no matter what. Like it's so cool. Like we feel really lucky being in front of as many people as we get to be in front of. And then we kind of just watch the game, do halftime, and then all that fun stuff. So it's really a ride. After the game, we do we play our music one more time. We march back to the stadium, and then we're done. Takes a pretty long day.
So I want to go back to or I want to touch upon some traditions that like you guys have with band, and also like Nebraska has. After I ask you, so you were a drum major for a year, and basically like how did you work your way up to that point, and I guess what changed, or like what things went on in your head to say, hey, I want to do this. I'm interested in this.
I don't know. It was something I always wanted to try. In high school, I wanted to be a drum major, but like with Blue Nights kind of happening when it did, like my director said, like, no, you have to be there for all of band camp to be a drum major, which totally makes sense. Like if I was going to miss like the first 2 really important weeks of band, like I felt like I would be part of the process. So I kind of had it in the back of my head for all of college, and then like you see all the hard work they have to do and like learning to spin a mace and all that. Like you don't really think you can do it until you decide to audition. So I don't know. I think a lot of it comes from just loving the program and loving the people that you're with, because like I think I ended up doing leadership my junior year. I think I was like a rank leader within the Mellophones, and like that was really fun, and you get more experience like conducting and teaching people and all that, and it like I fell in love with it, and I really liked the people that I was working with. So I just decided like by senior year I was like, hey, I have one more chance. Like the odds are looking pretty good. Like we just had 2 drum majors that were seniors graduate or something like that. So like there were some spots open, and like it just felt like if you want to try it, now's your shot. Like you really want to serve these people, like see what you can do and see if they end up liking you. So it worked out, and it just like it was like really the perfect culmination, I think. Like I felt really lucky to have the experience that I did with ending as a drum major. Plus like you get to see all the behind the scenes stuff, and it's awesome. So yeah.
Well, that's really cool. So
Yeah.
I guess back to the traditions, because we kind of want to know, I guess, not just about marching band, but also just about what goes on at the University of Nebraska. So
Yeah.
I guess football traditions that you guys do, and traditions in general. What are some things that are really unique to Nebraska, I guess, on a game day for football, or like any like special traditions that you guys have with band that you guys do? Like, I guess, could you let us know about some things?
Yeah, it's where I think I've discovered we're a very musical school. Like the stuff that we do like in the stadium, like during the games, like all of our traditions are kind of like revolved around like songs, and like certain songs will like evoke a certain thing that happens. Like we have this song, there's this song called The Cornhusker by the Killigans. It's like an old march that our band used to play, and then during the fourth quarter they just started playing it, and they turn all the lights off and everyone like holds up their phones, and it's super cool. The whole
I
stadium
saw a
goes
video
red.
of that. That was probably the coolest thing I've ever seen.
It was so cool, and I think I was the only one on the ladder for that when that happened, and that was like when we were playing Ohio State and College Game Day was here, and we were just like getting our butts kicked, and we were just like that came on, and we were like, this is okay, we're gonna be fine. But they kept doing it, and we loved it, and everyone just like shouts and sings really loud, and it's the best. Band, I think pretty much just like it's hard because like it's just so involved in everything you do, like in every rehearsal. Like it's just the traditions you have are just part of like your life, like just the way we do things and like how we teach our technique and stuff like that. I don't know. Like we do like pivot turns, we call them freeze pops. And then when we get our popsicles, we call those freeze pops. So like I don't know. It's just weird stuff like that. And then we have the Bone Bowl where the trombones play the trumpets in football. And yeah, but they have like a trophy that they have for that or something.
That's
it's pretty
cool.
Yeah, we got to ref this year, but I didn't because like I didn't want to die. So
I remember hearing about that when I was
really?
out there a few years ago. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Because we were hosted by like the Bone House.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So
wow.
I had a very trombone centric experience.
Yeah, they also have the hole where like if you mess up, you have like a week in the hole or something, and every time you ask what the hole is, like they don't tell you. I don't know.
So it's basically like right?
On,
Play club?
What happened?
Just, like,
Did I cut out?
Yeah, you cut.
Am I good now?
You're good now.
Okay, so is it like Fight Club basically?
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
I still don't know like what it is. They're just like, oh, you're in the hole, and I'm like, where is it? Like,
where do I go?
So, what do I do? Yeah, and then like, yeah, there's a lot of like, I don't know. I have a lot of friends. We have like a tuba house now, with like a bunch of tuba players, and that's just a whole mess. So I don't know. They run like tuba laps. Like on game days, like they all just wear their sousaphones. They all just sprint around the stadium. And like,
oh my god!
I worry about them. I don't know. They all tried to dot the I at one point, and like I don't know. We're like, like, what are you doing?
Wait, what I? Is there an I in Nebraska?
No.
Like for a while, we were really obsessed with like a whole bunch of other different bands, like songs. Like I think during our pregame, we all like sing the FSU war chant or something. And then the tuba players like started playing it like in the stands. And then eventually like one of them like got really into Ohio State's pregame and like just started like dotting the I like during rehearsal.
Oh.
Like, what are you doing?
That sounds like something that I would have done if I were a tuba player.
Yeah. It's so a lot of tradition just kind of comes from like people being weird and doing fun stuff like that. There's loads of things. Just I don't know. Trying to think of like the best one.
Well, I was curious. So I know at football games they have the balloon thing,
Yeah.
where like after the first touchdown they released balloons. What's your take on that? Because I know that that's a very like controversial thing.
It is very controversial. I mean, like, I'm fairly environmentally conscious. I don't like it because like you'll see pictures of them just like found like in other parts of the country or like in the state. And I know like I think there was a move. I'm not really super like up to date on it, but I think there was something that was happening where they were going to be biodegradable. But like I think they're looking into other alternatives for it. Because like it's cool when like we make a big deal out of our touchdowns, like we release the balloons, we have fireworks that go up in the end and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would hope they would do something about it if it's getting that detrimental. So
okay.
Yeah. I don't know what you guys thought about it, if it looks bad to like other bands.
Oh, I think
it looks cool. I think it's something that I personally
Yeah, I mean I think it looks cool,
but I also see like it's not good for the environment.
Right, and that's kind
so
of
much rubber like just getting thrown out into the environment.
That's how I feel too. I'm like, oh, it looks cool, but yikes, yeah.
And like, luckily this year they didn't score that many touchdowns.
This year we were bad.
So there wasn't as many balloons going.
People would like let the balloons up for like a first down or something, and I was like, guys.
Hey, we did something.
We did it.
That's like how Rutgers feels when we get a first down against basically anybody in the Big Ten.
The circle. I like looking at the circle of suck when Rutgers is good, like in the Big Ten page. I'm just like, oh, this is good.
So I get
us in the middle of.
It's good stuff. It's really good stuff.
I'm trying to think of. So I guess what are some in terms of like student life and other things that go on campus? What are some traditional things that a lot of people do? Like, are there a lot of, I guess, famous sites or very hallowed sites on campus? Are there places that you guys go to on the weekends, like to go out and party and that kind of stuff?
Well, if you come to Nebraska, like it's a really awesome. Lincoln is a really cool town. Like especially like mostly during a game day. Like there's a lot of like if you're 21 plus, like there's a lot of really cool bars and stuff you can go to. Like it's a really safe like downtown in general. So there's like you can go see the Capitol. We have a couple decent museums. I think we have like a roller skating museum somewhere up east. That's pretty cool. But yeah, we have mostly what I can think of is like just places on campus. Like we have like a bunch of weird architecture that like has a bunch of weird meaning. Like there's this one architecture called Greenpoint, and like it's like two big like stone things, like you walk in between. It's like a passage, so you walk in between it, and if you walk in between it you go to school for like over 4 years, like you're super senior. So I don't know. Yeah, there's just like weird stuff like that. And then I think we have a dairy store. Like our whole East campus is dedicated to agriculture. Like we're very much an agricultural school, and it's cool because like you get people from the smaller towns in Nebraska or the big farmers, and like it's awesome getting to see that perspective. So our whole East campus has like a tractor track, and we have like a club that repairs tractors, and like during our homecoming parade you just have like a giant line of tractors going down this. It's super cool. We have a place that we have a dairy store where we make our own ice cream. I think we have one of the largest urinals in the country in our architecture building. I'm not sure I know it's really big. I'm just not sure what the scale is in terms of which record it breaks.
That's an interesting fact.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Pretty dope.
It's pretty dope.
Shout out urinals.
We gotta go to Nebraska and we gotta see that urinal.
Please come to Nebraska and like ask where the urinal is. Someone will show you.
That's pretty sick. I was actually gonna say, so so the Greenpoint thing, Maryland has something similar. So it's called the Point of Failure.
Oh,
and basically there was like a fire that like burned down the entire school, and the Point of Failure is basically like where everything started back from. So like where they started rebuilding stuff. And legend says that if you step on it, that you won't graduate in 4 years, kind of like what you were talking about.
Yep. Oh my gosh, that's so much darker though. We just decided that.
That one's so much worse.
We just picked.
Yeah, we have a gate that if you walk through it, you have to walk through it twice. Once during your freshman orientation and once for graduation. Yeah. And if you do it anytime other than that, then you're not graduating in 4 years. You're done.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yikes.
my freshman orientation, I was like, oh, that's dumb. I'm not going to walk through this. And look who just graduated as a fifth year.
Hey, no shame.
So don't mess with your on-campus superstitions. Don't mess with them.
It's called the victory lap. It's not the fifth year. I don't know. But that's super cool. Yeah, our student body is pretty normal. Like I'm trying to like nothing super crazy is like, as far as I know, like I just kind of hung out with the band kids and just like went to school. So I don't know.
we need the lowdown on some of the best places to eat.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
In Lincoln, Nebraska, or near campus. What are some
Yes.
places that you guys go to either after a game or just like with your friends?
What kind of night are you looking for? We've got like everything. Like what are you like?
Well, say we just had like a really big Husker win, and we just want to have a good time, like eating some good stuff and just like having a good time.
Win.
Husker win. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're gonna want to splurge.
West Lafayette.
You're gonna want to splurge.
Oh my gosh, that was awful. Oh my gosh, don't talk to me about that. It was painful. Whenever we win, like there's people always go to Fuzzy's, but I know Fuzzy's is like kind of like popular in other states. It's a taco place that has really good margaritas. When my family's in town and whenever the Huskers win, we go to the steakhouse called Misty's. If you're in Lincoln, like you have to, like you're in Lincoln for like something, like anything, and you want to spend money, like you have to go to Misty's. We have cows, we have corn, really good beef. So you're gonna want to get steak. You're gonna want to get steak at Misty's. It's life changing. It's so good. There's a really good coffee place called the Coffee House if you're really into coffee. That's like I don't know, I'm a coffee nerd, so like you gotta go there too. Really good lattes, stuff like that.
I'm a barista.
You're a barista? No way. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Technically in training, but still.
Well, that's exciting. That's exciting. Yeah, it's super good. So I mean, if you want to explore if you get really into coffee, like go there. One of my regrets, and I don't know if this sounds bad, but like I didn't go to a ton of bars like in college mostly. Like I went to a couple, but like we've got lots of cool bars if you're looking to like turn up, stuff like that. But there's a place we keep getting a lot of new places, but you got to go to Misty's for sure. And then I know Cane's. I don't think Cane's is a thing in the East Coast. So
no. It is in the Midwest, though.
What are you talking about, Raising Cane's?
Yes, yeah. Go to Raising Cane's.
Oh, I want to go to Raising Cane's.
I heard that cane sauce is legendary.
Yeah. It's really
I've never had it, but
I'm very excited. I'm very
Yeah.
excited to move to Missouri in a few months to finally try it.
Yes, you have to. I went there. Like, it's better than Chick-fil-A in my opinion because you get more chicken and they give you toast. So, like,
Ooh.
I don't know. Garlic bread is always a win.
And
so you gotta go there.
I love bread.
Yes.
I was so sad not to. So Maryland was going to go to the tournament this year for basketball, or you know, like before like the Rona hit, and so they don't have Cane's there, but we were going to go down to Greensboro, North Carolina, and they have Cookout there, and like I was getting so Cookout is like one of the greatest inventions in the history of like food, and it's like a really really big Southern thing. And basically what it is like you can get like you just look it up and like look up like the menu of like the things that you can get. It's crazy how much food you can get for like nothing. Mm-hmm. And I was so hyped for it, and then it happened. And I was like, oh my god, I don't get to go to Zaxby's. I don't get to go to Bojangles. I don't get to go to Cookout. I don't get to go to Waffle House. I don't get to go anywhere. A lot of predictions had us going
to Omaha, and so I was excited.
Oh my gosh!
I was like, I'm gonna be back in Nebraska. I'm finally gonna get to try some good old Cane's.
Yes, also Runza. Like it sounds weird.
I've heard of it. I remember it. I wasn't sure if it was you guys or if it was Wisconsin that had that. But okay.
That's us. Cabbage and beef in like a bun. It's actually really good. Like it's a fast food place.
I heard stellar reviews about it.
Yeah, you gotta go. Like you can't drive through the state like without stopping there. So it's a crime. You gotta go. I mean, like we've got cool stuff. Like we're about as Midwest as you can get. So like if you want a good time, like
that's
come
dope.
check us out.
So explain to me this rivalry that you have with Iowa in terms of corn.
No.
Like I mean I don't get it.
Indiana
because,
corn is far better than
what
Jersey
sweet corn.
New Jersey has the second best corn in the country.
I've never heard these arguments. Like you just.
Yeah, so like,
it's
so
just
like,
really
what
funny.
Yeah. So like, what's the like? I guess like, what's the deal with that? Is it just because like they produce so much corn and that's just like a beef?
I think it's just the fact that like our mascot is the Cornhuskers. We had the Corn Man for a while. He was terrifying. Like if you Google Corn Man, he's the scariest mascot ever. But like it's our roots. Like
shout out Corn Man.
Yeah, we like when we score touchdowns, we like wave our hands and it's supposed to be like corn like waving in the breeze. And I didn't know that.
So cool.
It's super cool. Like it's just everything about us. And then Iowa already has like they have the wave. They have like they're the Hawkeyes. They have all this stuff already. Plus like we just don't like them. Like they've been like we always think that like we just like cause a bunch of Facebook arguments with them and like I don't know. They just like to ruffle our feathers by telling us we have bad corn. And that's how it starts. We're confident in our corn levels and Iowa just comes and tries to start stuff. So I don't know. But
Okay, well, I mean, that
Iowa
pretty
has a
much
higher annual rate of production, but
I
Nebraska
don't wanna
has higher quality.
it's
Quality
higher
over quantity.
Would you rather
Qual-
have quality over
I would
quantity?
I
Just
would
like our
rather have
football
quality
ones.
over quantity.
Exactly. And like you can't beat that argument. Iowa just refuses to accept defeat. So
Yeah,
so
their
let
corn
it go.
goes to like feeding like livestock that you're like, I don't know what it tastes
We
like.
have-
It's for the
yeah.
pigs. But then
We have
the Nebraska corn is delicious.
we have
I'm
we
sure
have
when we
really
get
good
someone
farmers
from-
markets. Lots of corn. Yeah, you have to you have to. It's life
I'm
changing.
sure when we get someone from Iowa on here, I'm sure they're gonna have words to
Oh,
say
I'm
about
sure.
that.
Yeah,
I'm sure
once
they're
you get
They're
gonna
gonna
someone
be
from
throwing
Iowa,
down.
you have to let me know what they say because I'll fight them.
Well, we'll have to bring you back and we'll have a nice debate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're only gonna have, I think, a few more questions just because we
Sure.
want to try to wrap this up. So I'm gonna
No
do
worries.
I'm gonna do a couple quick fire things, and then I kind of want to do a final few questions
Yeah.
about like like reasons to join marching band and that kind of stuff, and why
Absolutely,
you've
sure.
enjoyed it and all that. So I guess some quick fire stuff. What is something at Nebraska that's unique to Nebraska that no other school in the Big Ten would have?
Jeez. Honestly, like it's weird saying it, but I think our football, just the entire atmosphere of the Husker game is something that you're not going to get anywhere else. And even if I didn't go to the school, if I went to a lot of football games, like it's always different. There's just like you're missing like the fire. No, I mean you're not missing it, but like there's just such a difference in the person you're going to see in the history of how long they've been going there and like the legacy of everything that's happened. So it's just so unique, and it's like the only thing that I can really see like fully bringing like the entire state together. Like it's incredible. Yeah.
What is a sporting event that is not, so I guess like the trio would be like basketball, volleyball, and football at Nebraska. What's a sporting event that people should go to if they go to Nebraska that's not one of those sports?
We are 100% a bowling school.
So there we go.
We have
Shout
some
out
people.
bowling.
Yep, we're a bowling school.
Big bowling guy here.
Every time we lose a football game, everyone would be like, just remember, we're a bowling school. Our bowling team is awesome. So I mean, like,
dope.
yeah, we have I don't know where the alley is, but like I think one of our saxophone players was on the team and he was really good, very good. So yeah, that's awesome about us. I think we're a good gymnastics school too. But that was a couple of years ago when they went.
I know that baseball gets pretty lit.
Yeah. Oh, our games are baseball are really fun too. They're really fun. I was gonna go to one, but like the Rona hit, so I just haven't been thinking about it.
Yeah.
But our baseball games are really nice, especially when it's
Maryland baseball. Let me tell you, I wish we had more people come to games because like it'd be so much more fun. But I know like Nebraska, and I think Indiana is the same way where like people actually like go to games and it's like great atmospheres.
Yeah.
And like the actual stadiums themselves are really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be, I mean, I guess for me that would be something that I would want to do.
Yeah, if you guys were here in the spring, just baseball games are also really fun. Yeah.
I'm trying. Well, how close are you guys to Omaha?
About 35 minutes or about 50 miles. Yeah.
Okay. Have you or would you ever consider going to the College World Series?
Oh my gosh, all the time. Like as a band or just like as a person?
Well, as in like have you been /
Oh, no, I've never been, but like it's huge. Like a lot of like I think I have a couple friends that actually work concessions at the College World Series. Just
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's such a big event, and like tickets are not that expensive, I don't think. So people people go to those games a lot, and like they're super cool. Like I don't know, you can't drive past like through downtown Omaha and like not see the stadium and think about how cool it is. So yeah, that's a big attraction too.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know the Big Ten tournament for baseball is in Omaha.
Yeah,
I was like so hyped, but
it's worth going down there for. It's worth like going down for a couple games because it's super cool.
Okay, yeah. Maddy, we asked this question to Jess last week.
Sure.
But so as a female drum major, how like do you feel like you have extra responsibility with everything? Just like having that position, and how empowering is it to, I guess, show other female members of Nebraska's band and also, high school bands to show that like, this is not just something that's dominated by guys. This is also something that girls can do, and it's cool.
Yeah, well, and I was with two other guys, and our organization has typically been really good about like having an even split of guys and girls. The last couple of years though, I felt a lot of people felt like there was a lot of nepotism just because like siblings, like there would be a drum major and then like the next year their sibling would get it, and then like the next year they're like another sibling would get it, so just be like, oh, if you were in this family then you're going to be the drum major. So like I think more of the empowerment came from like being like a new face And like, I don't know. And like definitely being a female with 2 other guys, especially since they had both had another year of like they'd already done it. So I was the only one who was inexperienced. So I guess it was kind of like, it could be seen as empowering, like as like a girl who hadn't been a drum major before comes up and like learns. So I think I'd like to think that, yeah, like it felt like I did have to work a little bit harder, and it felt like I really wanted to prove myself and be up at the standard of the guys. But like they're excellent. I love them all so much, and it was, yeah, it like I hope it was empowering for other people. So I don't know. And they have a great team this year. I think they've got 3 girls and 1 guy. So
That's
it's gonna be
awesome.
interesting. Yeah, I think they're gonna do really well. So I don't know. I feel really lucky with all of it.
That's
sure.
awesome. Well,
yeah.
What, like for you, what made you stick with marching band for so long? Like what did you enjoy most about it? What I guess, like what kept you going with everything?
Yeah, it's always been the people. Like I really don't I felt like sometimes I feel like I wouldn't have had like as much safety and like security just in my life if I didn't have band. Like I don't know, it like the way the people just like accept you, and like the fact that you're all learning new things together and you're all like working on one thing collectively together is the best. And it's just the people like waking up at 5:30 and going to band, like you don't always want to do that for the activity, you want to do it because you want to see your friends. And it makes like working for the organization, and it makes wanting to be better like just so much more worth it. It's always been about the people. So yeah.
And then a final thing. So let's say that we are on Shark Tank and you have to give a pitch saying to everyone why you should join college marching band. What would your pitch be?
Oh geez. Oh no. There's so much. I mean, like, hey, you want to get in shape and have fun too? Like you wanna like, let's see, you want to get free pizza sometimes, get in shape, have fun, and go to football games for free? I have a job for you. I don't know. There's a lot. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say it doesn't need to be like exactly like Shark Tank, but like if you like it, essentially, like if you were trying to tell if you were trying to convince someone to do marching band, what like why should people do college marching band?
It's you get friends. I mean, like you make friends automatically. Like that's that. Like you go into college like already with like a security system, and like you go in like a week before everybody else, and you know, like it gives you confidence, and like it sets your tone for like how your college experience is going to go. I think that actually is really true. Like it seems like, I feel like to me it seems like an overstatement, but yeah, I think that's really what happened for me and for a lot of other people. Like it sets your tone for everything. So something life-changing. There you go.
Actually, before we go, I do have one more question.
Ooh,
Sure.
One more question.
And
I have a question for you guys.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, dang.
Flipping the script, all right?
Flipping the script.
It's all right.
If you were to give like any advice to, I guess maybe like if you met your younger self, or any like current college freshman who's wanting to do band, if you would give them like any advice for their years in college band, what would you say?
Just work hard. Just continue to work hard because it pays off, and like work hard for the right reasons. Work for the people around you because like they're the ones that are going to be there for you when the season's over and when you can't march anymore. Like do it for everybody. Like make sure you're having fun, take care of yourself, but check in on the people around you. So I kind of wish I'd heard that early on. So but yeah, okay, my question, what's everyone's favorite mascot that's not their own in the Big Ten? I gotta know.
I have a favorite mascot in terms of like non-Big Ten.
Well, that's fine too.
Yeah,
but I would prefer Big Ten.
Oh, god dang it.
Sparty's kind of jacked.
He's so cool. I love Sparty.
Like
Sparty's jacked, but I mean, I think Nebraska
no,
has like 2 costumes.
Wait, what? There's like a little guy, a little one.
Is that Big Red? A Little Red.
He's the one that he deflated at a basketball game one time, and I was scarred for life.
Oh my god!
I love Little Red.
Yeah,
oh,
mine is Brutus. Brutus would.
No, he's a nut. He's like
I would ride him in battle.
He's like legit a nut.
When he's like, have you ever seen a nut look so powerful though? He's so powerful.
I'm not sure if this was last year or
Big
if this
nut.
was a few years ago, but when Ohio State was playing Rutgers at Rutgers, whoever Brutus was, who was in the costume, was obviously also a drummer.
Yeah.
And so he came over to the band. Like I guess it must have just been at some point. I mean, probably second half when obviously the game was already decided. Yeah. And he came up to the the snares, and he kind of like motioned like to like, hey, can I hit a drum? And like our mascot does that occasionally, and he doesn't know what he's doing. So like they were like no, and he was like no, he was persistent, and then he was like, and he was actually going, and we were like, and the mellows were right in front of the drum line, and we're like, what? But this guy actually knows what he's doing.
Dang, Brutus, what the heck? Boy, that's crazy.
Now I gotta think of one, man.
What about Purdue Pete? Everyone loves Purdue Pete.
Purdue Pete's nightmare fuel. Nightmare fuel.
Purdue Pete is not the mascot of Purdue University. It is the Boilermaker Special, and it's a train. And it's the only mascot that you can ride in the country.
Right.
I'm gonna go wild card here, and I'm gonna go with Northwestern.
Oh wow!
Whoa!
Oh, what the
Really?
heck?
Yeah. I don't know. I wanted to be unique. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. I know that all of us really enjoyed the chat, and so.
Well, thanks for having me. I feel really lucky to get to talk to y'all. So.
Yeah, of course. Thanks everyone for tuning into episode 2. Thank you, Maddy, for coming on. Hopefully, we will continue to give you more of the best Big Ten band content and college marching band content that we can. Everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will talk to you next week.